Hey guys, welcome back. This is Albert. This is my YouTube channel, Breaking Burke. It is about houseplants and gardening here in the desert of Albuquerque, New Mexico. In today's video, I do have a few propagations I need to pot up, so I figured I'd show you how I do that. These were all done in sphagnum moss, just moist moss in a box. I've showed you these before. Here's one that has a few things growing in it. So I did have a few to choose from. But I'm only doing 3 because I don't want to take up all your day. The first one here, I couldn't grow this plant to save my life. I started with cuttings and they would root, and as soon as I transfer them, they would die. So I tried that a few times. I finally got fed up and figured I will go back to basics and what's always worked for me. And I did some wet stick propagations. This is a Cebu blue pothos. Here I have a Philodendron Pedatum, or reindeer philodendron. This I started as a propagation with my other one that's was about 3 feet tall, and it started growing even faster than the last, and then it all of a sudden didn't do very well, so then I chopped it up and put it in moss. This one here was a single leaf propagation. You can see the single leaf is gone. There's no mature leaves on this at all. And I thought it was gone. I thought it was going to die because the leaf died. But the lower half of the stem actually started to root and threw out this plant. I don't know what kind of begonia this is. I do know it's a Rex type. But if you look at this leaf right here, it looks like escargot begonia or snail type, because how this curls in. So if you know the name of this, leave it in the comments. That's more what the leaves will look like. A silver tone with pink on it. But it does start out just with little freckles and polka dots and gets deeper and deeper coloring as it grows. Beautiful red stem. Yeah, the mother plant to this isn't doing so great, so like I said, when I do get a plant I like to try and make multiples of it, just in case that happens and I lose it, I don't lose it completely. Now, use your potting soil that works best for you. This is just an out-the-box brand. I do add a little more perlite. You can see it's a little chunky on the white side, but I do that because it drains better. If you have a heavy hand at watering, like you water a lot, more perlite, more bark, that'll help you. That's one of the main reasons I like to mix my own soil. It's not because I know everything. It's not because I think I can do better than the people who are making it. It's because I know myself and I don't want to kill my plants. So this guy here doesn't have the best root system, but there are some healthy roots. The ones hanging onto the moss. This one here doesn't look like it's doing anything, so I'm just going to snap that off. And we're going to plant it. Now for something like this that you have a chunk on, you want to leave it on the soil basically. You don't want to plant it too far down, because if you do, the more material you have planted like that, the more attractive it's going to be to the fungus gnats, because they're going to want to eat all that's buried. So what I do is just lay it on the top, and let me pull this so you can see it. See that root? I spread it out and lightly cover that. You don't want to compact it too much because you don't want to kill the roots, but you don't want them just laying there, because if they're not covered completely, they can be root pruned or air pruned, which is basically the roots exposed to air and starts to die off. And you don't want that. These will go into another humidity dome type situation to make sure they stay good throughout the transplant. I don't want them to go into shock too hard, and since they have been in there, I'm going to have to slowly introduce them to the outside humidity. So that's the first one. I did go ahead and get these other containers ready just by putting soil on the bottom, so we don't have to sit here forever. Pull this out so you can see it with me. And that's a nice little plug. See, it's got roots all the way down to the bottom. So I don't take off the moss, I just plant it as is. Now I can use my little cup to backfill it. Some people sit there and struggle and take off the moss. I don't. I used to, but then it would negatively affect my plants when I was transferring them. So I looked around, I saw a couple references where they didn't do it, and I asked what they did differently than me. You know, sometimes getting a second opinion is the best thing to do. Nice little Cebu blue propagation there. And last we have this Rex Begonia. Again, I got another used container. If you're reusing containers, I know people will say you must wash them. You can, you don't have to. In life, everything is a risk, so you risk killing your plant if you don't. But you can see there's a decent little root ball there. And this, I'm going to have to add a little more soil to the pot because I thought it was going to be a bigger root ball. I'll prop it up with that hand and backfill. Now remember, anytime you do repot something, you will want to water it in after. You may have to top it off, especially when planting the sphagnum moss like this. The water will carry some of the soil down into the moss, and you don't want air pockets. Like I said before, letting air touch the roots will in fact kill them most of the time. Sometimes you have a nice hardy thick root that is fine and it'll just develop like bark on it, but that's not